Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be my first impressions on the new Tarte Shape Tape foundation. Now, I need to address a couple of things before we even get started on this first impressions video. The shade range that they released was pretty shocking. They only released 3 darker colours and that absolutely does not cover everyone at all. It doesn't even come close to trying to cover everyone's skin tone. So I know there are a lot of people at the moment that are boycotting Tarte, just generally not impressed. Tarte has said that they're working as hard as they can to try and release more shades to cater to everyone. So at least they're fixing their mistake, but at the same time, in this day and age, it's not a mistake that should have been made in the first place. I know there's also been some controversy around like the shade names. I think they're the same shade names as one of their older foundation lines, but I've never tried any other foundations from Tarte, so I don't have anything to compare this to in that sense. But I thought I'd give it a go anyway. There are 2 different formulas. There's the hydrating formula and the matte formula. I picked up the matte formula because I generally just prefer matte foundations. Let's go ahead and open it up. Nice packaging as always. I always want to reuse the paper that Tarte sends, but they always have their brand name on it, so I never can. So this is the packaging on the outside. It's not what I expected. It's just like a plain purple box. It says Double Duty Beauty on the side. I guess that's referring to the coverage because I know these are meant to have quite a lot of coverage. For those of you that are interested in a more in-depth review, I am going to be doing a proper review video on this foundation as my next video as well. So today is just my first impressions to tell you what I think after wearing it for the day and how it applies and things like that. But I am going to wear it for the next week or so, and then my next video is going to be how it applies with a brush, a sponge, with primer, without primer, those kinds of things. So I'll give you a proper in-depth review next video. Okay, so the shade that I got is Fair Sand. I honestly just picked the lightest shade that they had that was like yellow based. So I'm really just going to hope that it matches. It looks a little light, but that probably means that it'll match me in winter. So I'm going to hold out hope. So in terms of the packaging, I really like the frosted glass finish, and the lid like just screams Tarte. You can tell without knowing that this is Tarte just by looking at the lid. So the matte one has a purple kind of rim to it, whereas the hydrating one has a light blue. I think the light blue is so pretty, but really, I mean, who cares about that anyway? So this retails for 66 New Zealand dollars or 39 US dollars, and I'll just read you what it says on the website. A vegan and oil-free full coverage foundation with a creamy texture and modern matte finish to complement our cult favourite concealer. It provides the same full coverage as the concealing predecessor, smooths over pores and imperfections with rich airbrushed full coverage that dries to a flawless matte finish using a unique concealer-inspired wand. The formula absorbs oil and shine while leaving skin creaseless, hydrated, free of flakiness or cakiness, and helping to improve skin health with every application. So it sounds like this is going to be a good foundation for oily skin. I'm not going to be able to say whether or not it is because I have normal to dry skin. However, it does also say, even though it's a matte foundation, that it is still hydrating. So that I will be able to check for. It says for best results, blend out with a paddle brush. I don't have paddle brushes because I hate them, but I am going to use a brush to apply it today. I'm just going to be using my XO Beauty Flat Top Face Brush. This is my favourite brush to use to apply foundation, so it's a good indication of whether or not it applies nicely or not. And I find it quite interesting that this one is recommended to be applied with a brush actually, because the hydrating one I read on the website, they recommend using a makeup sponge. I guess it's to do with like keeping the hydration for the hydrating formula. Anyway, ooh, that lid is really stuck on. Is it a screw top? It's a screw top. Random. Oh, of course it is, because it's got a doe foot applicator instead of a pump. I don't know why I was expecting a pump. Oh my goodness, that is one massive applicator. Okay, I guess let's just do this. So I'm applying it without a primer today because I just want to see how it will hold up on its own. And I know the shade is going to be a little bit light for me today, but I can always fix that with a bit of bronzer. I think it's easier to make a lighter foundation look better than a darker foundation. I always struggle when foundations are too dark. It definitely blends out easily. I'm having no trouble at all blending it out. I don't think I applied enough for full coverage though. That has definitely given me quite a bit of coverage, even though I only applied quite a little bit. I would say that this is a solid medium coverage with just one kind of, not one pump, but one, whatever you call it, that comes out on the applicator. I might add just a tiny bit more just to like my chin and my cheeks to see how buildable it is, but I really am not going to be comfortable with a lot more coverage than this. So I'm just going to put a tiny bit more on my chin and my cheeks. Okay, so it builds really nicely. The coverage is definitely there now. I never actually tried the Shape Tape Concealer, so I can't compare it to that either. And I've only ever tried maybe 1 or 2 full coverage foundations, and this is the first one that I've actually really liked. Normally I'm just really scared by full coverage foundations. I think they make me look really cake face and just like too made up. This one I actually really like the look of. It has not emphasized my pores at all. My face looks completely smooth and almost natural. Like, I reckon this is as natural as a full coverage foundation can look. And it's definitely matte, but like I can still see a bit of life to my face. Everything just looks so even. There are no dry patches. Quite often on my chin or like the sides of my jawbone I'll see little dry patches. Not dry patches exactly, just my foundation will look a little bit drying in areas. At the moment it's not doing that, so I'm so far very pleasantly surprised. Obviously we're still going to see how it holds up through the rest of the day, but so far I'm pretty happy with this. The other thing I do want to check though is if it has a smell, because I could smell something, but I know that my brush smells from the cleaning product I used. I can almost smell something, but like hardly. So yeah, so far so good. I'm going to go away now and apply the rest of my makeup, and I'll be back in a little bit to let you know how it applied over top. By the way, it is 8:30 right now, so I'll be right back when I've got some makeup on. Alright, so I have my makeup on. I have to say, I am really enjoying how this foundation is looking right now, and I actually didn't use a setting powder today. So because the foundation is matte and it feels completely set on its own, I ended up not using a setting powder just to see how everything would apply over top and whether or not it'll still last throughout the day. Everything has applied perfectly fine. I'm really happy with how everything looks. And normally if I don't set my foundation, my powder over top will go really splotchy. So this is a really good start. Just to recap on the shade that I bought, I'm pretty sure this is the lightest shade that they have. And obviously I am not the lightest person in the world, and it's summer right now, so I'm gonna get lighter through the year. There are heaps of other people that are already lighter than me, and this is the lightest shade that exists. But anyway, we know about the shade range, we can leave that for now. Anyway, like I said, I'm really happy with how it looks right now. It's not emphasizing any pores. It feels really comfortable, to be honest, and like I said, it feels like dry. So it has set on its own as well, which is amazing. I think it looks really natural for a full coverage foundation as well. So anyway, the time is currently 9 o'clock. Like I said, I applied this foundation at 8:30, so I'll be back maybe in a few hours to let you know how it's holding up. See you in a bit. Alright, update time. It is currently 2:30 in the afternoon. I've had this foundation on for 6 hours now, and it's holding up really well. I think it has faded a little bit on my nose. Foundation tends to do that because I blow my nose through the day, and most makeup tends to rub off a little bit when you take a tissue to it. Other than that, I'm really pleasantly surprised. I still feel like it has a natural look to it. Even though it has quite a bit of coverage, I still feel like it doesn't look heavy or unnatural at all. And especially considering that I didn't use a setting powder today, I'm really surprised that it's still staying in place. I don't find that it feels too heavy or uncomfortable to wear either. It's still definitely matte, but it doesn't look or feel drying in any way. Anyway, considering there's not a lot that's changed so far, there's not much more I can say right now, so I'll probably just do one more check-in at the end of the day and let you know how it continues to wear. Time for the final update. So it is currently 8:30 in the evening. I've had the foundation on for 12 hours now. Let's just say I'm not as happy with it now as I was at the previous check-in. So it has started to look quite dry in certain areas of my face, mostly on my chin. I'll see if I can zoom you guys in so you can see a little bit better. So I don't know how well the camera's going to pick it up, but the skin on my chin, even though there's no like flaky patches, it does look quite dry to me. Like you can kind of see the foundation clinging to the hairs and stuff. It's not just my chin either. The chin is the worst area, but I can kind of see it on my cheeks as well. I definitely don't think it looks horrible, and especially from a distance, I'm still quite happy with how it looks, but up close, I'm definitely not still feeling the same way as I was a few hours ago. I would say it started looking this way probably around 5 in the evening, so it still lasted a good 8 hours, still looking really nice. Since then it's just like gradually been getting worse. So I would probably say this is not the foundation to wear if you want to have it on for a really long time, like a full-on day. However, it's probably a really good one for events. And if you had oily skin, then it probably wouldn't make it look dry, because obviously I have normal to dry skin, so it's going to work differently on me from someone who has oily skin. Yeah, so at the end of a full day of wearing this foundation, I would say that I'm happy with it to an extent. I'm happy to keep it in my collection and continue using it, but not when I'm expecting to have my makeup on for a full day. I definitely loved how it looked for the first 8 hours, so I'm happy to continue using it. But like I said at the start of the video, I am going to be testing it out for the next week or so, using it in different ways. So obviously today I used it with no primer and no setting powder. I'm going to try it with a primer, with a makeup sponge instead, with a setting powder, and we'll see what changes. It's quite possible that with a primer and a setting powder that it will hold up for more than 8 hours. But anyway, this is my first impressions. This is what I think about it at the end of my first day of using it. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you're going to be trying this foundation out or not, and whether it's going to be the matte version or the hydrating version, whether you're just completely boycotting Tarte altogether because of their shade range. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Don't forget to subscribe if you aren't already, so that you don't miss my next video, which is going to be the review. I hope you found this video helpful, and I will see you for the review. Bye!